But one thing that always creates imagination in people is love, I feel like. That's something that, like, you know, always, like, the risk of the siren in the distance, always was that was a big factor for me, I think.
Yeah.
That always, like, sparked my imagination, whether I was writing a girl a poetry or making a collage, doing something, trying to create romance or something.
Or figuring out how to seduce her and how to strategize and where to take her and what would impress her and all that other stuff.
Yeah, and he just talked about it. He said when he's trying to seduce her, and Theo Vaughn said when he's trying to create romance and write poems and stuff, that creative sexual energy when it's directed can be extremely powerful. And we all use it for women, obviously, but if you can use it for yourself and creating something incredible in your life, it can have extremely powerful effects. And Think and Grow Rich talks about this. So there are quite a few books and resources that talk about it, but I'm curious to see what they have to say about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I guess I didn't think of it. It's weird because you think of it, I guess seduction isn't just sexual, is it?
Oh.
Okay. So yeah, because I would think about, like, yeah, what could I go do that's nice with my girl? What would make her care about me? What would make me show her that I care about her? I loved that stuff when I was young.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I mean, I think online porn has definitely degraded those skills.
Oh.
For sure. Bro, Theo Vaughn is just naturally funny. One thing I would say about that is it definitely has shaved away most men's desire to approach women. I think it makes things a lot easier when you can just get yourself off by yourself. However, I don't think that it's the end of the world if sometimes you use it. You should definitely have a balance and a control. Most guys go off the deep end going on OnlyFans, and that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But you guys getting lost in the sauce with porn, man, it's gonna destroy you, and you're not gonna have any drive to speak to women either.
it's ruined so much. I'm amazed that we allow it.
I mean, you used to be like, if you wanted to meet, you were feeling lonely, you'd go to a party or a bar or something. It took some guts. You had to, like, get out of your house. You had to take the risk of somebody saying no, and you were kind of afraid and timid.
Yeah.
You're kind of trembling, and then maybe you had a few beers and things went a little bit better. But it took, like, a skill that you had to develop, a people skill. But if everything is so quick and instant, you're afraid. So many young men are afraid of women. They get in their early 20s, they don't know how to approach them.
Yeah.
Because they've never had to approach them. They've never had to deal with the fact that somebody could reject them because it's just
Right
you
there.
don't have to deal with it.
Never rejected. So then no interaction. So then this weird feeling of weird fear. I was definitely too much pornography. Too much.
Really?
Yeah. My 20s, dude, bad news, dude. Jerking just jerking my body off or just looking at porno.
This is in the earlier days of porn.
This was, 15 years ago, 13 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
How much long ago was it? Yeah, it just was bad, man. Sometimes I would even set a date up, and then instead of going on the date, I would end up looking at some pornography and then just cancel the date.
All right.
Yeah, he's talked about that before on other podcasts, but yeah, that's exactly it. And it's that energy when you direct it to something else, you lack the energy to give in other ways. So, not every guy's gonna have that exact experience, but if you're watching a lot of porn, man, you're gonna be destroying a lot of potentially creative aspects of your life. So you don't have to go on NoFap for 30 days to be able to use this energy, but you also shouldn't be jacking off like your dick owes you money, beating it like it owes you money. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
I was like, well, why am I going to go on this? Because I think probably some of it was nerves. I didn't want to have to go. But then also it was like you just found a loophole to make yourself feel sexually gratified.
Yeah.
But the long-term effects of that, miserable, man. Because then I started thinking anytime I was like engaging in sexual activity, I would think of it in almost like
Yep.
camera shots or
Yep.
something.
Dude, that's the worst feeling. I know what he's talking about. That is when you know you have a problem and you need to stop. When you are being intimate with somebody and you're thinking about the videos you're watching. Bro, if you have that problem, bro, you need to address that right now because that will mess up your relationships, man, for sure.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was
Yeah.
all like, and I didn't even realize it, but it wasn't like in a moment. It was just like, I'd almost be just watching. Yeah, like it wasn't, I wasn't in the moment. Even the way I saw it
Right.
was, I'd seen it so many times this way
Yep.
Wow,
that I
that's
couldn't break the
scary.
pattern.
Wow, that's really scary. I
Oh.
had no idea.
Yeah, it was tough, man. Ruined some relationships
then-
that I
and
was
then-
in.
then
No,
there-
and I'm not trying to be
Yep,
self pity. I'm just saying, yeah, that I was certainly not even a victim of it. I did it, you know, and I wish that it hadn't have been there because I do miss the days when I would just lay at home and just scream like, "Where are all the chicks?" You know, and just jerk off that way, you know, instead of at least like
Yeah.
looking at the screen or whatever. But
And then their bodies could never measure up to what you saw.
yeah, the
real-
lighting is never. It's never the, same.
lighting.
It's never the same. So then next time a girl comes over your place, you have 700-watt bulbs in the ceiling. She's like, "What the hell's going on?"
That's another thing, man. People try to bring the expectations from porn into real life when that never works.
But dude, there was nothing. That's what drew you out into the world as a man. The fantasy, even going to Europe or whatever. What if I meet someone on the corner smoking a cigarette?
Oh,
Yeah.
I remember when I worked in this hotel in Paris, I was 21.
Mm-hmm.
It was the hotel where all of the models would stay.
Wow, dude.
Oh my God.
I would hide under a bed.
It
in
was
there.
like paradise. You know, I died God to heaven. And there was this guy who kept showing up at the hotel. His name was Eduardo. He was this tall Brazilian man. This is kind of where the art of seduction came from. I would watch this guy. He was so smooth. He had every skill in the book. Wow. He was so relaxed that when women were around him, they just melted, right? And so I was thinking, what is this power that this guy has? Yeah, he was pretty good looking. He wasn't the most handsome person in the world, but he had some kind of skill that he had developed. And, you know, he had crafted it coming to this hotel partially, you know, because he had seduced so many of the models staying there. But I was thinking, what is it about him? And I was kind of fascinated by him. And I became friends with him briefly. And I realized it was his confidence, his calmness. There was nothing defensive about him. And the fact of him being
And a lot of that comes from detachment. When you stop caring so much what women think of you, and you just understand some are going to like me, some are not. I'm totally detached, regardless whether she likes me or she doesn't. You start to develop that personality that more women like. Not caring that they like you is actually what makes them like you more.
so undefensive made him incredibly charming to women.
What does undefensive mean?
He's not insecure.
Yeah.
He's not thinking about himself. He's not in the moment with a woman going, what do I need to say to impress her? He's not there at all. He's like so on them, inside their mind, so relaxed and not thinking about himself. That's what I mean.
Eduardo.
Where is he now?
God. Probably with some chick, probably.
Well, he's going to be in his 60s or 70s. So I
That
don't
ain't
think so.
stopping him, dude. I'll tell you that.
Maybe not.
Gosh, yeah, I think seeing somebody be like, oh, I was always shocked when a guy was good with the girls. I was like, who is this?
Yeah. Bro, we all could say we remember that. I remember that in high school, man. Whenever you would see some guy who was like getting different girls, man, you thought he was some demigod, man. Like you thought he was some Giga Chad or something, when he probably just had the balls to go up and talk to her, and he probably just was more relaxed than you, you know? Exactly what Robert Greene said, you know, he wasn't in his head thinking about, oh, do I need to say this? Do I need to say that?
Wizard.
Yeah.
Who is this damn wizard?
Yeah, and there were people like that. They had
Yeah.
something about them, and it wasn't just looks.
No, dude. I mean, it was not. It's just a comfortability. Sometimes there are moments I would get into that state where I would be fearless with women, very rarely. But it's gotten better as I've gotten older. But yeah, when I was young, it was so hard just to like even look at a girl and talk at the same time. I don't even know. I feel like my legs were just going to climb right into my butt. I just was so scared.
Well, we've all been there.
Is that what propelled you out into Europe? Were you a ladies' man growing up?
I had a period. My 20s were a bit like that.
Yeah.
And then I kind of grew out of it for whatever reason.
What do you mean grew out of it?
It got tiring.
Oh, just chasing women kind of.
Yeah, and it felt like something, it's okay when you're in your 20s, you're young, you look good, you've got energy, you got spirit. You start getting into your 30s, you start getting into your 40s, and it seems kind of pathetic.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem good. That's how my maybe if you're Mick Jagger, it's not.
I'm not 30 or 40 yet, but there definitely are stages where, for me personally, I'm not in the same mode that I used to be, where it was just like, I just want to rack up an infinite amount of girls, like as many as I can, book 10 dates a week. Like, I'm not trying to do that anymore just because I see a grander vision for my life. And spending my time with random chicks, it just, you look back at it and you say, what did I get out of that? You know, what did I really get out of it? You realize you didn't get much out of it. You just, maybe you got the validation, you got the sexual gratification, but what did you actually feel the fulfillment from? Most guys can say nothing. I would say the same thing.
Not pathetic.
Yeah.
But for me, it's felt like it doesn't feel right anymore. But when I was in my 20s, I'm not saying I wasn't on the level of Eduardo. No way, man. But, the interest was there. I was aspiring to be in his league, let's put it that way.
And were you brave with women? Like, were you brave enough to go talk to them and stuff? Because part of that is learning just the art, like learning even being in the dance. Like, I never even put myself in the dance so many times. I'm like, dude, you got to at least get in the interaction moment,
Well, the key to me that I learned, and maybe it's just me, is that if you're really interested in her, if you're really excited by her, if it's not just about sex, but there's something about her that excites you, it'll bring something out of you that you didn't think was in you, right? It'll bring energy out of you. It will make you. They will feel that your excitement and your interest. They'll see that it's not mechanical, that it's not just about sex, that you're genuinely interested in them. That will relax them, which in turn will relax you back and forth, back and forth. So if you choose somebody that you genuinely feel a connection to, and it's also sexual, it'll have this kind of reverberating effect where you will bring out your I remember some.
You need that reciprocation, man. That's so important, and he's so right about that. You don't want to be with a woman who isn't as into you as you are into her. So that reciprocation is something you should be feeling out on the very first day that you start to talk to her. See how much she gives back.
Sometimes I'd be funnier than I've ever been in my whole life. I'd be wittier. I'd be an actor. I'd be saying all kinds of weird things. And, they brought it out of me. But then other women, no, nothing at all like that. I'd be nervous. It didn't happen.
True.
But that kind of...
And that's where it is, bro. You guys got to start thinking, maybe it's not the right girl. You accept responsibility for where you fail as well. But sometimes it's not the right girl. And it's okay to say, I'll have better chemistry with another girl. And that brings the best out of me. And that doesn't just apply to women either.
Magic happens when it's like a real connection.
When there's purpose there.
Yeah.
It's kind of like even what we were saying earlier about purpose showing up. How does that it shows up?
Yeah.
That there's something there if you can navigate it. That a moment, there's something energy there that
Yeah.
shows up that connects you to your purpose.
Yeah.
It's very similar to the energy that shows up to connect you to a woman in a way, I would say,
Yeah.
or someone of the opposite sex.
Yeah.
Fire video, man. For you guys that are scared to talk to women, there's nothing to be scared of. You're only afraid of yourself. You're afraid of the rejection that you'll feel, the negative emotions that you'll feel after being rejected. So put yourself out there and learn to love yourself, and you'll be able to do these things with no issues. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm signing out.